How's it going, guys? What is up? Moses is here, and today we're going to talk about Righteous Fire. Time to make a video guide about this build. So, Righteous Fire, it's this aura right here. This aura burns you and your enemies for the values listed on the skill. The skill itself does not gain more damage as it levels up. It only increases the radius, so you want to get Righteous Fire level 20. Level 21 does not make any kind of a difference to the radius. Yeah, so enemies will burn, you will burn, and as such you're going to have a good regeneration to mitigate the damage you take, the damage over time you take from Righteous Fire. So to do that, we're picking up the Templar. Templar is excellent because it gives us basically time of need, which gives us every 5 seconds 30% of maximum life regenerated over 1 second, as well as a cleanse. This is going to be the first pickup on your normal labyrinth right here. Righteous Fire does not require a 6-link, simply because there are no other support skills than these three right here: Elemental Focus, increased burn damage, and increased AoE or conk effect. Right? We swap for bosses or for clearing maps. So these 3 skills right here, or 4, are the only ones that work with Righteous Fire's increased damage self-cast. So we're not going to be needing a 6-link. Right? That's at least one small positive when it comes to costs, but yeah, the build itself is not very cheap. So as mentioned, the skills supported will increase your overall damage are Elemental Focus, increased burn damage, increased area of effect. The movement skill for the build is Shield Charge linked with Fortify and faster attacks. When it comes to auras, right here, our third, so this is going to be our second Radiant Faith and our third Unwavering Faith, Cruel and Merciless Labyrinth. We're going to pick up these ascendancy points on the Guardian tree. Unwavering Faith basically means that for every aura that we cast, we get 1% physical damage reduction and 0.2 maximum life regeneration. So we're going to get a lot of regeneration out through the auras that we cast, and for this particular build I'm using currently 6 auras. We want to have a level 1 clarity, leave it at level 1 so it won't consume and reserve more mana. We're not using it for the mana regeneration, just for the sake of having another aura. We're using Vitality for the life regeneration. Vitality is linked with Blood Magic, level 21 Blood Magic on the helm, so it reserves mana from life. Purity of Fire is linked with Empower right here, which increases its levels by 2. We're running Discipline, which again linked with Blood Magic and with Enlighten. Right? We're running Flammability, which is a curse linked with Blasphemy that turns it into an aura on a 2-link right here. And we're running Purity of Ice, which is a standalone gem. Alright, so in order to be able to run all these auras, as mentioned, we're going to need Enlighten to reduce mana reserved. Linked with Blood Magic are the 2. Linked from mana are these 2, as well as Purity of Ice and Blasphemy with Flammability. In order to be able to run all these auras, we're also going to need to pick up mana reserved damage, mana reserved nodes from the tree. We got a 4-1 and a 4-1 here, a 6-1 here. Also increases the effect of non-curse auras you cast, which will increases our maximum resistances to cold and to fire from the Purity of Fire and the Purity of Ice. Right, so we also have other mana reservation nodes from the reduced mana reserve node right here. We also have another one, reduced mana reserved, right here. Without all these nodes, we're not going to be able to run these auras, as well as an Enlighten level 3, and again, blood magic level 21. Another option for you, if you do not have an energy shield helm, would be to pick up a vertex, which is budget way of running this right now. It will give you a +1 level to socketed gems, which then allow you to run a level 20 blood magic, which just costs a couple of chaos, and a level 2 enlighten. Okay, nice. So we talked about blasphemy, we talked about flammability. Over here we got Orb of Storms 4-link with vulnerability, curse on hit, and increased critical strike. Orb of Storms, curse on hit, increased critical strikes, and vulnerability. This serves several purposes. One of them is to proc elemental equilibrium. When enemies take lightning damage, when they're hit with lightning damage, their also resistances are reduced by 50% to the rest of the elements. Now, this kind of makes out for a little bit of a weird thing. Righteous Fire itself, when it hits an enemy, it does not necessarily hit the enemy. So Elemental Equilibrium is not applied when you hit monsters with Righteous Fire, because you're not in fact hitting them. Righteous Fire mechanic is kind of weird. It's not really a spell, even though it says a spell. It's not. It's more of an aura, even though it doesn't say an aura. It's an aura. I mean, it's a radius effect spell thing that burns enemies. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain, but bottom line, and the important thing is that it is not a spell and it does not hit, and therefore it does not proc elemental equilibrium and make everything gets 25 cold resist or fire resists. Orb of Storm, however, will proc, because Orb of Storm hits enemies and applies lightning, so everything else will get -50 to the resist. In order to do that, we also want to crit, so we link it with increased critical strike. The reason why we want to crit is because of elemental overload, and that's the second purpose this skill gem has. Elemental overload will give us a more elemental multiplier of 40% if we crit in the last 8 seconds, which will be all the time, because whenever we whenever we run, we drop Orb of Storms, it hits something, it crits, and applies both Elemental Overload and Elemental Equilibrium, significantly increases our damage. The third purpose that it does is, in fact, linked with Cursed on Hit, will apply Vulnerability, which will make enemies take more increased damage. Will make them take increased damage, not a more, but an increased damage from damage over time effect. Alright, so now we understood the 4-link and the purpose of Orb of Storms. We can move on to, I guess I covered all the gems. So let's move on to the rest of the items, the gloves. The gloves are a nice boost to our damage. When we craft them with an Essence of Delirium, we have a, give me a second here. Yeah, so when gloves are, we craft gloves with the Essence of Delirium, which is a rather expensive essence, cost about, I don't know, at the moment between 30 to 50 chaos, depends on who you buy it from, but gives us a more multiplier for damage over time effects. Rather expensive, not necessary, but definitely noted increase in your damage. Noticeable, very, very powerful craft right here on the glove. So you want to spend a couple of exalts, I guess, until you get a decent roll. I in fact got a pretty good roll with 50 to int, which gives me a 10% increase in energy shield. So the more energy shield you have, the more damage you'll do, of course, with this build, which makes these gloves pretty good. For the helm, shield, boots, you'll just want to pick up things that makes your gives you more energy shield, more int, more resists, be able to manage your resist to a point of about 80, 180, 175 all resists, which will then allow you to run elemental weakness maps without without losing your capped resistances. For the shield, I'm using this one with the Leo craft, reduced damage taken from overtime effects. The craft itself is not expensive at all. It's about 3 chaos and about 1 scour to remove. Make sure you get, it runs between 5 to 20. Make sure you get the 20 or the 19 at least for this shield. Again, you want the resistances that you need. You need, you know, as much intelligence as you possibly can get. High energy shield value for the shield. An alternative, whether you're just starting out, running Rise of the Phoenix, that will give you an increase of maximum to your maximum fire resist, which will then serve as a damage reduction from fire, and will allow you to run the build without burning or losing or degenerating while running the Righteous Fire. Alright, so when it comes to the rings, basically, again, the requirements that you need, whether you need dexterity or strength to run some, you know, some pieces of gear, some gems. You want as much, basically, as much energy shield plus % energy shield that you can craft. This particular craft costs about 1 exalt, exactly 1 exalt. So this makes this ring particularly good. For me, I decided to go for it because it did have the energy shield, the intelligence, as well as the resistances I needed at the time. So I decided to drop a couple of exalts until I got the value that I needed. For this particular ring, I got extremely lucky. Somebody sold this ring for only 2 exalts, and I pretty much went for it instantly. It had dexterity that I needed at the time, and had the cold resist that I needed at the time. It had fire damage, and I blessed this to maximum value of 25% increased elemental damage. This in fact is best in slot ring for the build. You want an opal ring for the most possible damage. So yeah, I ended up crafting the increased max energy shield. Was pretty happy about this ring when I got it. When it comes to the amulet, Eye of Chayula or Presence of Chayula, if you got the currency for it. Presence of Chayula and Eye of Chayula are only different because this one has 20% of maximum life converted to energy shield, and this one does not. This one also gives you 60% to chaos resist, which is not that significant, but both give you the cannot be stunned, which is why you want to equip this amulet. With the 20% increased energy shield, you can see I got about 2,000 more energy shield, while if I would use this, about 200 more maybe. So yeah, this one costs about 3 chaos, this one costs about 3 exalts, so there's kind of a big difference to you. This amulet also gives you some attributes. For the belt, you want a crystal belt. This one has the most possible value of energy shield, as I managed to craft it myself. With a Blessed Ord, reached the 20, Alter Gold, and spammed chaos. But basically, the Alter Gold gave me the big light res and the 51 maximum energy shield max that you can get on this belt. And I then regold for strength and then spammed chaos for nothing, pretty much. And yeah. Well, let's not talk about the exalts that I spent. I said chaos, I meant exalt, of course. Yeah, 3 exalts there until I managed to get the craft that I wanted. Birds are chirping outside. There's nothing I can do about it. Suck it up. Not gonna record this video again. By the way, this is like 4th time recording this video. All sorts of interruption. Let's move on. When it comes to the tree, as mentioned, we're going to pick up a lot of energy regeneration nodes, which will, in fact, will be life regeneration nodes, which will then be converted to energy regeneration. Now we got life regen over here. Life regen, life regen. This node is possible, but not recommended. These 3 are possible. For certain situation, could be recommended. And we also have combat stamina and quick recovery over here, and that's pretty much it from the tree. On the ascendancy, we're getting the unwavering faith, which gives us the life regeneration per aura we cast, and the physical damage reduction per aura we cast. Pretty good for us. We're getting radiant faith. The order, in fact, that you're going to be doing it is going to be time of need, which will give you an increase, sorry, a reduced effect of curses on you, which is very, very nice little thing. Every 5 seconds we get a cleanse, removes our curses. Every 5 seconds we get a big heal of 30% of maximum life regenerated over 1 second. Now I'm talking about life. The things that enable it to become energy shield, of course, if I did not mention it before, is Zealot's Oath. All life regeneration is applied to energy shield instead. So every time you see life regeneration, it's in fact energy shield. Could not be able to do it without it, of course. Important keynote. Alright, so we're going to get the time of need first. Right after that, we're going to go into Radiant Faith and Unwavering Faith as soon as we finish the Merciless Lab. Once you cleared the Uber Lab, you're going to pick up Prayer of Glory, which will give you increased attack speed, move speed, make war whenever you, use a war cry. It is instant and costs no mana, and for this we're going to be using Rallying Cry right here. It is linked with basically increased duration. That's it. Rallying Cry gives us a small damage buff, increases the duration with, well, increased duration, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Val Lightning Trap is used. Also a possibility to use, instead of increased duration, you could run Discipline, Val Discipline, which acts as a single healing potion, you know, on tough situations. I might even consider doing it myself. But yeah, Val Lightning Trap for the extra damage on bosses. You throw this on bosses, or when you open up a strong box, or when you open up an essence and fight the essence boss, or whatever. When you find a tough mob, throw in a Val Lightning Trap to give you 50% more damage. For the weapon, there are, at the moment for me, I think 3 different options to run. One will be the Bright Beak, which is the one I'm using right now, to the point that this build that I'm like super tanky. I'm very familiar with the build. I have no problem running this. The reason why I'm running this is because of the 50% increased attack speed it gives, which allows me to shield charge while destroying everything on my path. Other alternative are Doriani's Scepter. Doriani's Scepter will give you small attack speed, but mostly it will give you 130 increase, up to 132 increased elemental damage, which is pretty darn good. Of course, you can see the speed in which you shield charge. It's pretty good, but it's not, it's not Bright Beak. Over here we got the third option, Ephemeral Edge. That's the weapon I started with, and now I'm barely using it for clearing maps and so on. I barely use it simply because, yeah, at the beginning I needed the extra energy shield, and my energy shield value was not insane as it is right now. So 18.5k, but as you can see, the shield charge is extremely slow with this weapon. So those are, at least for me, my 3 alternatives. I'm going to throw a quick word on a flask setup. I'm running Witchfire Brew, which applies vulnerability and increased damage over time whenever running the flask. Experimenter's Sulfur. I use Experimenter's flasks on all over my flask to increase the duration. Makes me spam a little less. So Experimenter's increased duration. Flask, Sulfur Flask of Grounding. Sulfur increases our damage, and Grounding removes shock. Over here I got Rumi's Concoction. We don't have to use it. I actually picked it up yesterday. Up until then I was running like this. Both, of course, this is a unique version of a Granite Flask of Iron Skin to get more armor. With this one, when we pop it, we have about 20k armor. With this, when we pop it, we have, well, I have to let it expire, I guess. But with this one, when we pop it, we have a little less, I believe about 15k, something like that. So 14k, but it gives us also spell block and extra chance to block, which is, I find, pretty nice. Over here we got Experimenter's Ruby Flask. We need the Ruby Flask to increase our fire resist. So when we're going to pop it, we're going to have 88 fire resist, which will mitigate more of the Righteous Fire damage. Acts as a small healing potion, you could say. Very tiny, but definitely necessary on certain maps, such as vulnerability or minus maximum resists. This one also gives us heat suffix, which removes freeze. And then we got Experimenter's Quicksilver Flask of Staunching for the extra movement speed, for the duration, and for the bleed removal. Yeah, man, I believe that is all. I believe I've done it. I managed to record a video under 1 hour. Those of you that know, I actually recorded a 1-hour video guide on this. I tried to keep it short this time and cover everything. I'm just going to go through my gems, or sorry, jewels, and then we're going to jump into a Shaped Strand gameplay. So over here we got some attributes. All attributes is nice, plus int is nice because it gives us extra energy shield. You know, so without, about 300-ish energy shield, not too bad. And we get some resists here. Of course, you know, spell damage while dual wielding is insignificant. Spell damage does not affect the build at all. On a vessel right here with increased fire damage, max int, max dex, and the max energy shield bonuses. Over here we got Soul Stone, which gives us some resist, some fire damage, some max energy shield. Over here is energy from within, which converts all life bonuses in a radius to energy shield. So instead of having, normally it would be 5 and 3, right? You got 3% life, 5 energy shield, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, and then 6, 4 or 6, 10. So instead of that, we're going to get pure energy shield, 8, 8, 8, and 16. So this is the best point to put this jewel in. It gets the most benefit out of it, and it gives me, as you can see, about 600 energy shield, which is definitely a nice boost. This used to be 12, they nerfed it, insignificant right now. So yeah, let's I guess kill some things. Let's put in the Bright Beak. I crafted some maps, used some sextants, and let's go. Let's put these right over here where they belong. And a couple of ruby flasks here. Oh yeah, so whenever running vulnerability maps, I normally change the, just to make sure that I have vulnerability makes us take more damage over time. So we want to run a ruby flask to be able to make sure that we have the extra maximum fire resist. Alright, and a couple more things about enchantments that are important to mention. We already talked about the craft for the gloves, Delirium craft. Reduce damage over time on craft on the shield. If you're not running with Rise of the Phoenix, you're going to be needing that in order to be able to run Righteous Fire. Without it, you'll start degenning and losing your energy shield right here. So yeah, those are important to mention. Leo craft level 3 and Delirium craft. Over here, I was really trying to get the 2% or 1 to 2% increased life regeneration of your maximum life, 1% to 2%, which is pretty huge if you've been hit recently. That's the enchant on the boots, but I'm just unable to get it. I ran maybe, I don't know, 50 of these. I mean, I still keep those. I still have hope. Maybe one day I'll be able to freaking do this with the twice enchanted. I bought all these. I don't know how many hours I spent doing this, but I still cannot get the boots enchantment, which is supposed to be super easy. There's like 15 or 16 of them. Just like, kind of haven't been able to be lucky with this. On the helm, so that was the boots. The life regeneration, if you've been hit recently, makes you pretty tanky, allows you to take more damage. And on the helm, there is an increased fire, righteous fire damage, or an increased area of effect. So one of these is definitely going to be a huge boost to your clear speed, but the chances are so slim, it's probably not even worth mentioning. What people do is, in fact, craft or buy the enchantment and then put it on, you know, and then spam chaos until they get the right result, equip the helm, or, you know, craft it with alt regals and all that stuff. So yeah. Alright, we got got a Shaped Strand map. We're gonna run it with Beyond. We also have Beyond, Onslaught, and Breach. Let's go kill this map, I guess. I don't know. Alright, so we got Elemental Weakness and something else in here. I don't know, I wasn't looking. Basically, when it comes to maps, okay, we got some frame drops. It's fine, it's normal, all normal. Basically, when it comes to maps, things that you want and things that you don't want. You want everything. You don't want a couple of things that are essentially minus resists. Don't mess around with that too much. I mean, -9 is fine with the Ruby Flask, and I run Ruby Flask and I run okay. So yeah, Ruby and okay, things explode. That's pretty nice. Okay. So one thing I run is the Ruby Flask and Rise of the Phoenix to mitigate the minus resists. It helps a lot. Yeah, but there's really no reason to die. What is this now? Alright, so it really is no reason to die, so don't mess around too much with it. But it's definitely possible to run minus resists. As well, when it comes to less regeneration, so of course no regen maps you cannot run. It is going to be like impossible for you to run no regen maps because it's simply insta-die with Righteous Fire. But -60 is possible as long as there's no minus resist there, and as long as you keep an extra Ruby Flask. That's what I do, an extra Ruby Flask, just to make sure that there is no instance where I'm running out of Ruby charges. Things drop. It's fun. Extremely fun, extremely powerful build. I mean, at the moment I'm trying to. This is kind of like my second character in the game. And I heard that pushing 100 is a big deal. So I'm trying to. At the moment I'm level 97 with 21% XP, doing some Shaped Strand, Shaped Shore maps, Shaped Atoll, Shaped Promenade. Just having a blast and enjoying this really, really wonderful build. So I want to give out shout-outs. First is to Yalani, who made a build on Righteous Fire. It's on the forum. The guy's been playing Righteous Fire for a million years. This is just basically a short video guide, as short as I can make it, believe it or not. But yeah, that's just a short video guide. Yalani made an extensive thread on the forums, but this is just for my viewers here on Twitch to know what I'm running and how the build works, essentially, because I get a lot of questions, and there is like 99% chance I haven't covered everything I know about this, but really I was just I know it's a half-hour video, but I try to make it short, believe me. And there is a lot on this build to know. I mean, you can see the clear spill is beautiful, not OP at all, and lovely, lovely stuff. Things just explode. Dude, this is so addicting. Okay, so for bosses, we're gonna change to Conk Effect and run a couple of lightning traps and watch them die. That's it. Alright, so this was fun. I hope it was fun for me as it was for you, or the other way around. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure that you subscribe, keep up the latest future content, and like, share, comment. Feel free to ask questions. I'm trying to read everything, all the comments, to answer you guys. Thank you very much for watching. Keep it low life, and remember, Hydras are cool. Goodbye.